The room stood up for the general, but he walked straight to her. "Ma'am," he said, eyes locked. And just like that, rank meant nothing, and her story began. Lieutenant Commander Sarah Phoenix Mitchell had been assigned to Naval Special Warfare Training Center in Coronado for exactly 18 weeks. At 5 feet 7 inches with jet black hair pulled back in regulation style and steel gray eyes that seemed to analyze everything, she moved through her medical duties with the kind of quiet professionalism that made her blend seamlessly into the training environment. She carried her medical equipment with practiced precision, treated injuries with expert clinical care, and maintained the supportive presence that characterized dedicated military nurses. To the SEAL candidates and training staff, she was simply their assigned medical officer, competent, caring, and completely unremarkable in her professional role. What made Lieutenant Commander Mitchell particularly effective, though few recognized it at the time, was her uncanny ability to anticipate problems before they developed. During combat swimming exercises, she would position herself exactly where diving emergencies would occur. During weapons training, she seemed to know which candidates would experience stress reactions. During Hell Week preparation, she could predict with remarkable accuracy which candidates would require immediate medical intervention before physical or psychological limits were exceeded. Her situational awareness during training exercises was extraordinary, often positioning herself in locations where problems would manifest before instructors recognized developing issues. Her medical bay was organized with military precision that exceeded standard requirements. Every piece of equipment had its designated place. Every medication was inventoried with obsessive attention to detail, and every medical procedure was documented with thoroughness that impressed even senior medical officers. But there were subtle differences that most people overlooked. Advanced trauma equipment that wasn't standard for training facilities, specialized medical supplies that suggested experience with more serious injuries than typical training accidents, and a personal bearing that seemed to come from authority far beyond medical education. Her equipment included tactical medical gear that exceeded normal training facility requirements, suggesting experience with combat medicine rather than routine medical support. The candidates knew her through routine medical encounters and respectful observation. "Ma'am," when they required medical attention, Lieutenant Commander Mitchell, when discussing her professional capabilities, or Doc Mitchell, in everyday conversation. None of them had questioned her background beyond standard medical training, though many had noticed she possessed unusually comprehensive knowledge of military operations and seemed to understand tactical procedures with depth that exceeded typical medical officer education. But the unknown can be revealing, especially when it involves people whose true qualifications remain carefully concealed behind compassionate professional assignments. Welcome to Silent Salute, where we uncover the extraordinary stories hiding behind ordinary military assignments. Before we dive into this incredible tale, tell us in the comments which country you're watching from today. And if you believe that true leaders often work in the shadows, hit that subscribe button to support our channel. We're honored to share these remarkable stories with you. Naval Special Warfare Training Center in the fall of 2018 was operating at peak capacity. Home to the most elite naval warrior training programs in the world, the facility processed hundreds of candidates through the grueling selection and training processes that would determine who possessed the physical, mental, and psychological capabilities required for SEAL operations. The medical support required for such intensive training was comprehensive, demanding, and absolutely critical for candidate safety and training effectiveness. The training environment at Coronado was deliberately designed to replicate the stress and complexity of actual special operations. Every exercise was crafted to test candidate capabilities under realistic conditions while maintaining safety standards that protected personnel from unnecessary risk. The balance between realistic training and safety requirements demanded constant vigilance from medical personnel who had to anticipate problems while avoiding interference with training objectives. The daily rhythm at Coronado was relentless but carefully choreographed. Morning brought physical conditioning that pushed human endurance to absolute limits, with candidates participating in beach runs, surf torture, log PT, and obstacle course exercises that tested every aspect of physical fitness and mental toughness. Midday featured tactical training and weapons instruction that tested decision-making under extreme stress, including live-fire exercises, room-clearing drills, and tactical movement scenarios. Afternoon included specialized skills training that built operational capabilities, such as combat diving, demolitions instruction, and advanced medical training. Evening brought psychological evaluations and recovery periods that prepared candidates for the next day's challenges. Through it all, Lieutenant Commander Mitchell provided medical support with steady professionalism that had characterized her entire assignment. Her medical expertise was universally respected, her emergency response capabilities were unquestioned, and her ability to handle any medical situation that arose during training impressed instructors and candidates alike. She could treat serious injuries without disrupting training exercises, manage medical emergencies without creating delays in training schedules, and maintain candidate health without compromising the intensity that made SEAL training effective. The candidates had formed clear impressions about her role and capabilities. She was exceptional medical support who ensured they remained healthy enough to continue the punishing training regimen. Her medical knowledge was comprehensive, her trauma response skills were outstanding, and her ability to manage serious training injuries was unmatched. But she also possessed unusual familiarity with military culture, often demonstrating understanding of tactical concepts and operational procedures that most medical officers wouldn't encounter during standard military medical training. Her interactions with candidates revealed knowledge that exceeded medical education. During equipment inspections, she demonstrated familiarity with advanced weapons systems that suggested hands-on experience rather than academic study. During tactical discussions, she asked questions that revealed understanding of operational planning and mission execution that most medical personnel wouldn't develop through support roles. During physical training observations, she provided insights about performance optimization that suggested experience with elite military conditioning programs. Among the candidates was Petty Officer First Class Marcus Hammer Rodriguez, a former Marine Force recon operator who'd served multiple combat deployments in Iraq and Afghanistan before applying for SEAL training. Rodriguez was highly respected by his fellow candidates for his tactical experience and leadership abilities, but like everyone else, he assumed medical personnel operated outside the warrior culture that defined special operations training. Lieutenant Commander Mitchell is absolutely solid, Rodriguez had mentioned to his swim buddy during their 17th week. Best medical officer I've worked with in 12 years of service. She understands military operations in ways that most medical personnel never develop. It's like she's been part of tactical units herself, not just supporting them from medical positions. Rodriguez's observation was more accurate than he realized. Lieutenant Commander Mitchell's understanding of military operations wasn't learned through medical training. It was practical knowledge developed through experiences that most medical personnel never encounter. Her familiarity with tactical procedures came from direct participation rather than observation, and her understanding of military culture reflected leadership experience rather than support roles. Seaman First Class Jake Rocket Thompson, who'd served as a Navy hospital corpsman before SEAL training, offered his perspective on Lieutenant Commander Mitchell's capabilities. Some medical officers develop that kind of tactical understanding through deployment experience or specialized training assignments, Rodriguez. She's probably supported combat units or special operations medical missions that taught her about tactical operations. Maybe she's done forward surgical team deployments or combat casualty evacuation missions. But Thompson's theory couldn't explain the specific type of tactical knowledge Lieutenant Commander Mitchell displayed, the kind that suggested direct command experience rather than medical support roles. Her understanding of operational planning, mission execution, and tactical decision-making exceeded what support personnel would develop, even through extensive deployment experience. There were details that, in retrospect, should have raised questions about her background. During tactical discussions, she asked questions that revealed understanding of classified operational concepts that most medical officers shouldn't know. During equipment inspections, she demonstrated familiarity with advanced military systems that exceeded medical necessity, including weapons configurations and tactical communication equipment. During conversations with senior instructors, she used terminology and references that suggested experience with special operations at command levels rather than support positions. Her physical fitness exceeded what most medical officers maintained, often participating in candidate physical training sessions with performance levels that matched elite special operations personnel. Her tactical movement during training exercises displayed professional competence that suggested formal military training beyond medical education. Her situational awareness during complex training scenarios exceeded what support personnel typically developed, consistently positioning herself with tactical advantage that suggested combat experience. Chief Petty Officer David Bulldog Stevens, a 20-year SEAL veteran who served as senior instructor, had noticed these details more than most. "There's something different about Lieutenant Commander Mitchell," he'd mentioned to the training officer during their weekly briefing. "She carries herself like someone who's held command positions, not just medical assignments." Her tactical knowledge and leadership presence suggest experience that exceeds medical training. Stevens' assessment identified the key characteristic that distinguished Lieutenant Commander Mitchell from other medical officers. Her leadership presence and tactical understanding consistently exceeded what medical training would provide. Her responses to tactical scenarios suggested experience with command responsibilities that extended far beyond medical duties, and her interaction with senior personnel reflected authority that came from leadership positions rather than support roles. Master Chief Petty Officer Tom "Shark" Wilson, who had 30 years of special operations experience and served as the senior enlisted advisor for SEAL training, had also observed Lieutenant Commander Mitchell's unusual capabilities. "She understands tactical operations from a command perspective," Wilson had told Captain Williams during their monthly assessment meeting. "Her questions during briefings and her insights during training scenarios suggest she's planned and executed special operations missions, not just provided medical support for them." Wilson's observation reflected growing recognition among senior training staff that Lieutenant Commander Mitchell's background exceeded standard medical officer qualifications. Her tactical knowledge, leadership bearing, and operational understanding suggested experience that extended far beyond medical education and support assignments. The training progression for the current SEAL class had been carefully structured to build candidate capabilities through increasingly challenging exercises. Each phase introduced new stressors, more complex scenarios, and higher performance standards that tested every aspect of candidate readiness for special operations duty. Week 18 represented a critical milestone in candidate development, advanced tactical assessment that would determine which candidates possessed the judgment, leadership, and tactical proficiency required for actual SEAL team assignments. The exercises planned for Week 18 were among the most challenging phases of SEAL training, requiring perfect integration of all skills learned during previous training phases. Candidates would face realistic combat scenarios that tested their ability to make life-or-death decisions under extreme stress, coordinate complex tactical operations with team members, and adapt to changing mission parameters while maintaining operational effectiveness. Lieutenant Commander Mitchell was assigned to provide medical oversight for the tactical assessment exercises, positioned where she could monitor candidate performance while maintaining readiness to respond to injuries or medical emergencies. Her role was exactly what it had always been: professional medical support and emergency response capability. But her positioning during exercises and her observations of candidate performance consistently provided insights that enhanced training effectiveness. The tactical assessment was being conducted under the supervision of Captain James "Reaper" Williams, a 30-year special operations veteran who had commanded SEAL teams in every major conflict of the past 3 decades. Williams was known throughout naval special warfare for his tactical expertise and his ability to develop training that prepared candidates for the most challenging operational environments. His reputation for producing combat-ready SEAL operators was unmatched throughout the special operations community. Captain Williams had noticed Lieutenant Commander Mitchell's tactical insights during previous training phases and had begun incorporating her observations into training assessments. Lieutenant Commander Mitchell sees things in candidate performance that most medical personnel miss, Williams had told his staff. Her understanding of tactical operations helps us identify leadership potential and tactical decision-making capabilities that pure medical assessment wouldn't reveal. The facility was preparing for what promised to be the most challenging week of training when an unexpected development occurred that would fundamentally change everyone's understanding of Lieutenant Commander Mitchell's background and true qualifications. On the morning of November 15th, Lieutenant Commander Mitchell was conducting routine medical preparations for the day's tactical exercises when the training facility received notification of an unexpected visitor that would require the highest levels of military protocol and ceremonial respect. General Patricia Iron Lady Morrison, a four-star Army general who served as commander of Special Operations Command, had arrived at Coronado for what was described as a routine inspection of training facilities and assessment of candidate development programs. General Morrison's visit was unprecedented, as Special Operations Command leadership rarely made unannounced visits to individual training facilities. General Morrison was legendary throughout the military for her tactical brilliance, her leadership under the most challenging combat conditions, and her role in developing special operations capabilities that had shaped modern military effectiveness. Her combat record included multiple deployments in command positions, successful leadership of classified special operations missions, and responsibility for developing tactical procedures that were adopted throughout the special operations community. Her visit to any military facility was considered a significant honor and required the highest levels of military protocol and ceremonial respect. The training facility immediately implemented procedures appropriate for a four-star general's visit. All training exercises were temporarily suspended to allow personnel to prepare for formal inspection procedures. Personnel were positioned for formal inspection, with candidates arranged in formation and instructors prepared to present training programs and assessment procedures. Senior leadership prepared to escort General Morrison through facility tours and provide briefings about training programs, candidate assessment procedures, and medical support capabilities. Lieutenant Commander Mitchell, like all medical personnel, was positioned in the medical bay where General Morrison would observe medical support capabilities and discuss candidate health management procedures with senior medical staff. The medical bay had been prepared for inspection, with all equipment arranged for display and medical personnel positioned to answer questions about training medical support and emergency response capabilities. The medical staff had been briefed about General Morrison's background and instructed to prepare for questions about medical support for special operations training. Lieutenant Commander Mitchell was expected to discuss medical protocols, emergency response procedures, and candidate health assessment methods that ensured training safety while maintaining operational realism. When General Morrison entered the medical bay, accompanied by Captain Williams and other senior facility leadership, every person in the room immediately came to attention in recognition of her rank and authority. The general's presence commanded absolute respect from everyone who served in special operations, and her reputation for tactical excellence and leadership made her visit a significant honor for all personnel present. General Morrison began her inspection by reviewing medical equipment and discussing emergency response capabilities with senior medical staff. Her questions were detailed and demonstrated comprehensive understanding of medical support requirements for special operations training. She inquired about trauma response procedures, candidate health monitoring systems, and coordination between medical personnel and training staff during complex exercises. But what happened next shocked everyone who witnessed it. Instead of continuing her formal inspection of medical facilities or proceeding to discuss medical protocols with senior staff, General Morrison walked directly to Lieutenant Commander Mitchell with obvious recognition and deep personal respect that seemed to transcend military protocol and rank structure. "Ma'am," General Morrison said to Lieutenant Commander Mitchell, looking directly into her eyes with the kind of recognition that suggested shared experiences far beyond routine military service. Her tone carried respect that exceeded military courtesy and suggested personal recognition that transcended standard military hierarchy. The entire room fell silent. A four-star general had just addressed a lieutenant commander as "ma'am," with respect that exceeded military rank structure and suggested personal recognition that transcended standard military protocol. The exchange violated conventional military hierarchy in ways that could only be explained by shared experiences or service records that exceeded obvious rank differences. Lieutenant Commander Mitchell's response was measured but revealed familiarity that confirmed their shared background. "General Morrison, it's good to see you again. I hope your visit finds the training programs meeting your expectations for candidate development and operational readiness." The exchange between them was brief, but demonstrated mutual respect that clearly came from experiences that the other personnel in the medical bay didn't understand. Their interaction suggested shared operational background that exceeded the obvious difference in their current assignments and revealed relationship that transcended current military roles. Captain Williams, who had 30 years of special operations experience and had worked with the most senior military leadership throughout his career, recognized that the interaction between General Morrison and Lieutenant Commander Mitchell revealed relationship that suggested classified operational background far beyond standard military medicine. The general's personal recognition exceeded what would be expected between senior leadership and medical personnel. The other personnel in the medical bay stood frozen, trying to process what they had witnessed. Military protocol demanded that junior officers stand at attention when addressed by senior leadership, but General Morrison had approached Lieutenant Commander Mitchell with personal respect that suggested peer recognition rather than rank-based interaction. After General Morrison's departure from the medical bay, the atmosphere remained charged with questions that no one felt comfortable asking directly. Senior medical staff exchanged glances that reflected confusion about what they had witnessed, while training instructors tried to understand the relationship between a four-star general and someone they had assumed was simply an exceptional medical officer. Captain Williams immediately recognized that he needed to understand the background that explained General Morrison's recognition of Lieutenant Commander Mitchell. Her response to the general's greeting had confirmed shared experiences that exceeded standard military medical assignments, and her familiarity with General Morrison's suggested service record that extended far beyond medical duties. Lieutenant Commander Mitchell, Captain Williams said during a private conversation later that afternoon, General Morrison's recognition of you suggests service record that extends beyond medical assignments. Her respect for you was personal, not just professional courtesy between senior leadership and medical personnel. Lieutenant Commander Mitchell's response was carefully controlled while providing some context for their relationship. General Morrison and I served together during previous assignments where medical and operational responsibilities were integrated in ways that required close coordination between medical personnel and command leadership. Our paths crossed during classified operations where medical support and tactical command had to coordinate seamlessly. But Captain Williams understood that Lieutenant Commander Mitchell's explanation, while accurate, didn't fully reveal the nature of her background or the reason for General Morrison's personal respect. The interaction he had witnessed suggested relationship that exceeded coordination between medical support and operational command. Later that afternoon, Captain Williams received a classified communication from Special Operations Command that fundamentally changed his understanding of who Lieutenant Commander Mitchell really was and why General Morrison had recognized her with such obvious respect. The classified communication revealed information that explained everything Captain Williams had observed about Lieutenant Commander Mitchell's tactical knowledge, leadership presence, and operational understanding. The document disclosed that Lieutenant Commander Mitchell was actually Colonel Sarah Phoenix Mitchell, a decorated Special Operations officer who was serving in her current medical assignment as part of a classified evaluation program designed to assess training effectiveness from medical perspectives informed by command experience. Her true service record included multiple classified Special Operations commands, including leadership of some of the most sensitive missions in Special Operations history. Her medical training was secondary qualification that supported her primary role as one of the most experienced Special Operations commanders in the military. Her assignment to SEAL training was designed to evaluate training programs from the perspective of someone who had commanded actual Special Operations missions and could assess whether training adequately prepared candidates for real operational challenges. The communication revealed that Colonel Mitchell had commanded Special Operations units in multiple combat theaters, developed tactical procedures that were adopted throughout the Special Operations community, and led classified missions that had shaped modern Special Operations capabilities. Her medical qualifications were earned to enhance her command effectiveness, providing her with comprehensive understanding of combat medicine that supported her leadership of Special Operations missions. The document explained that Colonel Mitchell's evaluation of SEAL training was part of a broader Special Operations Command initiative to assess training effectiveness from the perspective of commanders who had led actual combat operations. Her insights would be used to enhance training programs and ensure that candidate development adequately prepared personnel for the challenges they would face during actual SEAL team assignments. Captain Williams immediately requested a private meeting with Colonel Mitchell to discuss how her command experience could enhance SEAL training programs in ways that had never been available before. The revelation about her true background explained every observation he had made about her tactical knowledge and leadership capabilities. Colonel Mitchell, Williams said during their private conversation, learning about your command background explains everything I've observed about your tactical knowledge and leadership presence. Your understanding of special operations exceeds most active SEAL commanders, and your insights into candidate development could revolutionize our training programs. Colonel Mitchell accepted the opportunity to reveal her true background and discuss how her command experience could benefit candidate development. Captain Williams, the operations I've commanded have provided insights into training requirements that can only be understood from the perspective of someone who's led personnel in actual combat situations. My evaluation of your training programs has identified areas where enhancement could better prepare candidates for operational realities. Over the following days, more details about Colonel Mitchell's background began to emerge through official channels and conversations with personnel who had clearance to discuss classified operations. Her command experience was extraordinary, even by special operations standards, and her tactical expertise had shaped procedures that were used throughout the special operations community. Her service record included command of classified special operations missions in multiple theaters, including operations in Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, and other locations that remained classified. Her tactical innovations had been adopted by special operations units worldwide, and her leadership during combat operations had earned recognition that included the nation's highest military decorations. What we're learning, Captain Williams explained to his senior staff during a classified briefing, is that Colonel Mitchell represents command experience that can enhance our training programs in ways we never imagined possible. Her perspective combines operational command with medical expertise in ways that create unique insights into candidate development. Her medical training, rather than being her primary qualification, was additional expertise that enhanced her command capabilities. She had earned advanced medical qualifications to better understand the physiological and psychological demands of special operations, enabling her to make more informed decisions about personnel deployment and mission planning. Upon revealing her true background, Colonel Mitchell worked with the training staff to develop enhanced tactical scenarios that incorporated lessons learned from actual special operations missions she had commanded. Her insights into operational realities provided training enhancement opportunities that exceeded anything previously available to SEAL training programs. The operations I've led, Colonel Mitchell explained to the candidates during a special briefing, have taught me that effective SEAL training must prepare personnel for situations that exceed standard tactical parameters. Real operations often require decisions and capabilities that conventional training scenarios don't address adequately. Her assessment of current training programs identified areas where enhancement could better prepare candidates for operational challenges. These included decision-making under extreme uncertainty, coordination with other military services and government agencies, and adaptation to mission parameters that changed rapidly based on developing intelligence. Her enhanced training scenarios included realistic command decisions where candidates had to integrate medical considerations with tactical requirements, leadership challenges where personnel had to coordinate medical support with operational necessities, and crisis management exercises where medical and tactical capabilities had to be balanced under extreme pressure while maintaining mission effectiveness. The SEAL instructors who learned about Colonel Mitchell's command background became eager students of her operational experience. Her tactical expertise was integrated with their training knowledge, creating educational opportunities that reflected the complex coordination required for actual special operations missions. Working with Colonel Mitchell, Captain Williams told the candidates, demonstrates why modern special operations require leaders who can integrate multiple capabilities seamlessly. Command experience and tactical proficiency aren't separate skills. They're components of comprehensive operational leadership that must be developed through realistic training. Master Chief Wilson, who had suspected there was more to Lieutenant Commander Mitchell's background, found his instincts confirmed beyond his expectations. Colonel Mitchell, working with you has shown me that the most effective commanders are often those who choose assignments that hide their true qualifications behind supportive professional roles. The candidates quickly learned that Colonel Mitchell's command experience provided insights that enhanced every aspect of their training. Her understanding of operational leadership, tactical decision-making, and crisis management under combat conditions created learning opportunities that exceeded anything available through conventional SEAL training. Petty Officer Rodriguez, who had respected Lieutenant Commander Mitchell's medical expertise, became one of her most engaged students. Colonel Mitchell, your command experience has completely changed how I understand operational leadership. You've shown us that effective SEAL operations require preparation for situations that exceed standard tactical training. Seaman Thompson, who had theorized about her tactical knowledge, gained new appreciation for Special Operations Command experience. Ma'am, your understanding of operational coordination that I attributed to medical deployment experience, now I understand it came from commanding missions that exceeded most SEAL experience. Chief Stevens, who had suspected there was more to her background, found his tactical instincts confirmed. Colonel Mitchell, working with you has shown me that the most effective commanders are often those who choose assignments that hide their true qualifications behind supportive professional roles. The enhanced training programs that Colonel Mitchell developed were eventually adopted throughout Naval Special Warfare Command, establishing new standards for tactical realism and operational readiness. Her methods influenced SEAL training worldwide and enhanced the effectiveness of special operations personnel in managing complex mission requirements under combat conditions. Her evaluation report, submitted to Special Operations Command upon completion of her assignment, recommended significant enhancements to SEAL training programs based on her assessment of candidate development from a command perspective. These recommendations led to training improvements that better prepared SEAL operators for the challenges they would face during actual combat operations. The story of Colonel Mitchell's revealed identity became legendary at the training facility, shared with new classes as an example of how extraordinary command experience often serves through assignments that conceal true qualifications behind routine professional responsibilities. Her example reminded everyone that assumptions about personnel backgrounds could overlook leadership experience that exceeded obvious qualifications. The most important lesson you can learn here, instructors would tell new candidates, is that exceptional leadership often comes in unexpected forms. The person providing medical support might be someone who's commanded operations more classified and challenging than anything you'll encounter in your SEAL career. Years later, when Colonel Mitchell transitioned to her next command assignment, her legacy lived on in the enhanced training programs she developed and in the understanding that true operational excellence often requires maintaining operational security about command experience and classified service records. Her story reminded everyone that in naval special warfare, as throughout the military, the most dangerous assumptions are those made about personnel who seem to fit perfectly into support roles. Because the most exceptional commanders are often those who choose to serve through assignments that hide their extraordinary leadership capabilities behind compassionate professional responsibilities. Colonel Mitchell's revealed identity became synonymous with the understanding that Special Operations Command experience represents capabilities that continue contributing to military readiness through whatever assignments best serve current operational requirements. Her example demonstrated that the most effective military training is often enhanced by personnel whose true qualifications remain carefully concealed behind routine professional duties. The moment when General Morrison had addressed her as "ma'am" had lasted only seconds, but its impact continued for years, reminding everyone that extraordinary command capabilities often hide behind the most caring professional appearances, and that the people trusted with support responsibilities may be the ones with the most significant leadership experience to share about commanding others when everything is on the line. The sight of a four-star general showing personal respect to someone everyone assumed was simply a medical officer had demonstrated not just individual recognition, but broader understanding of how military service creates bonds that transcend obvious rank structures. Colonel Mitchell's willingness to serve through medical assignments showed that true military leadership continues through whatever roles best serve current training requirements. The enhanced training. Protocols that emerged from Colonel Mitchell's command experience created new standards for SEAL preparation that recognized the value of training informed by actual operational leadership experience. Her methods were studied and implemented across multiple special operations services, establishing her as a pioneer in command-informed tactical training. The candidates who trained under Colonel Mitchell's enhanced programs consistently demonstrated superior performance in leadership decision-making, tactical coordination, and crisis management compared to candidates trained under conventional methods. Her influence on SEAL training extended far beyond the specific incident that had revealed her true background. Petty Officer Rodriguez, who had respected her medical capabilities, eventually completed SEAL training and became a team leader himself. Throughout his career, he credited Colonel Mitchell's example with teaching him that effective leadership often requires serving through assignments that conceal true qualifications. Colonel Mitchell didn't just teach me about tactical operations, Rodriguez would tell his team members years later. She taught me that the most valuable leaders are often those whose true experience remains hidden behind supportive professional roles. Seaman Thompson, who had theorized about her tactical knowledge, also completed training and advanced to senior enlisted positions. His experience learning Colonel Mitchell's true background influenced his approach to personnel assessment throughout his career. What I learned from Colonel Mitchell, Thompson would explain to junior personnel, is that effective military operations depend on recognizing that extraordinary leadership often comes in unexpected forms. The person in the medical role might be the one with the most command experience to share. This story was brought to you by Silent Salute. Before we leave you today, here's our question. Have you ever discovered that someone you knew in a support or medical capacity actually possessed extraordinary military command experience that they kept hidden? Have you encountered people whose routine assignments concealed remarkable leadership backgrounds and classified operational experience? Tell us in the comments about the moments when you realized you'd been working alongside someone whose command experience exceeded your own understanding. And if you believe that the most capable leaders are often those who don't need to advertise their qualifications, hit that subscribe button to support our channel. Every story reminds us that extraordinary command capabilities often hide behind supportive professional roles, and that the people we notice least may be the ones with the most significant leadership experience to share about commanding others in the most challenging situations. We'll see you in the next story, where we'll discover another incredible tale of hidden military excellence and unexpected recognition.